After 30 years of a loveless marriage, I unexpectedly found myself reborn. I returned to the second year of my marriage to my high-ranking official husband, Sage Jiang. At this time, Sage Jiang brought home a delicate mother and daughter pair who needed care, while I was just 3 months pregnant. Knowing what would happen next, I preemptively wrote my name on the official registration form. Then she voluntarily went to the hospital to abort the child in her womb. In this life, I will no longer serve Sage Jiang and his lover Nola Sai without complaint or regret. I will devote my body and soul to serving my country, and incidentally, I wish Sage Jiang and Nola Sai, that adulterous couple, to be stuck together for life. I just didn't expect Sage Jiang to refuse to divorce me. He wanted to trap me like in the previous life, making me slave away for him and Nola Sai. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless. The winter in North City during December is truly freezing. The biting wind pierces the bones, and water turns to ice in an instant. The stinging pain in my hands made me look around in confusion, and I found myself standing by an open well in the biting cold wind. Before me were 2 large basins filled with clothes waiting to be washed. I turned to survey the unfamiliar yet familiar surroundings, spotting the era-defining slogans on the buildings around me, and for a moment, I thought I was dreaming. My gaze fell once more on the bright red cotton-padded jacket in the basin before me, then shifted to a few pieces of children's clothing. I raised my hand again, covered in red, swollen chilblains, and took a look. I was certain I had been reborn. I had returned to the winter of 1981. This was the second year of my marriage to my high-ranking official husband, Sage Jiang. At this moment, I am 3 months pregnant, and the clothes in front of me serve as a reminder. Right now, I am washing the laundry for Sage Jiang's beloved Nola Sai and her daughter, Little Pearl. In the past life, Nola Sai accidentally sprained her hand and couldn't move. Sage Jiang, feeling distressed, arranged for me to take care of Nola Sai and her daughter. I prepared delicious food and drinks for them every day, cleaned their rooms, and washed their clothes. I even gave Nola Sai and her daughter Little Pearl the sugar, fine rice, flour, meat, and eggs that I couldn't bear to eat myself, to help them get proper nutrition. In my past life, I loved Sage Jiang and treated his words as sacred commands. I always diligently fulfilled my duties as a military wife, helping others selflessly, thinking of their needs, and addressing their urgent concerns. I always thought Sage Jiang took care of Nola Sai out of pity for her difficult life as a widow with a child. I always believed it was a traditional virtue of being a military officer and a military spouse. It wasn't until later that I realized Nola Sai's so-called hand injury was just an act. She didn't want to wash clothes in the freezing winter and risk frostbite or chilblains. She wanted to protect her beautiful hands, so take advantage of me for free, this foolish and hard-working old servant. Not only did they want to exploit me as a free nanny, but Nola Sai also had her eyes on my job. Sage Jiang obeyed Nola Sai's every word and fulfilled her every request. He immediately prioritized Nola Sai's urgency and gave my job to her. Later on, Sage Jiang was promoted for his achievements. Nola Sai coveted the position of the chief's wife and instructed her daughter, Little Pearl, to push me, who was 6 months pregnant, causing me to miscarry and leaving me unable to bear children again. Without a job and unable to have children, my life in that era was unimaginably difficult. I knew I wasn't good enough for Sage Jiang, and I was afraid he would abandon me. So I became even more submissive, working tirelessly for him like an ox or a horse. With my haggard and lifeless appearance, I was the complete opposite of Nola Sai's radiant beauty with her rosy lips and pearly white teeth. Naturally, Sage Jiang disliked me more and more, believing that out of sight meant out of mind. So he sent me back to the countryside to take care of his parents, under the guise of fulfilling my duties to him, so he could serve the country with peace of mind. In my past life, I felt guilty towards Sage Jiang and was endlessly grateful to him, dutifully taking care of his parents. Because she couldn't bear children, she was constantly insulted and blamed by his parents, while Sage Jiang got rid of me, this burden, and lived a flourishing life in the capital with Nola Sai, flying together in pairs. At home, I worked tirelessly to take care of Sage Jiang's parents for 30 years. It wasn't until my in-laws passed away and I went to the capital to find Sage Jiang that I discovered he and Nola Sai had been presenting themselves as a couple in public. Only then did I realize how laughable my life had been. After confirming my return, I kicked over the basin filled with Nola Sai and her child's clothes in front of me. Whoever wants to wash these clothes can wash them. I sure as hell won't. I strode back to the place I shared with Sage Jiang, hearing me return. The door next to ours creaked open. Nola Sai poked her head out from the cozy warmth of her room and flashed me a fake smile. Xiaoli's back. Did you finish washing the clothes? I shot a glance at Nola Sai's sickeningly phony face and slammed the door shut with a bang. I locked the door and headed straight to the bedroom, crouching down to pull a box from the cabinet under the bed. The box contained all the meat coupons, grain coupons, fabric coupons, and some cash that Sage Jiang and I had scrimped and saved over the 2 years of our marriage. Some of these meat, grain, and fabric coupons, along with the cash, had already been used by Sage Jiang to support Nola Sai and her child. Nola Sai and her child constantly had new clothes, feasting on fine rice, white flour, eggs, and meat, living a plump and rosy-cheeked life. I was malnourished, with dry, yellowish hair, and at a height of 1.68 meters, I weighed only 90 pounds. All my clothes were patched over and over, only discarded when they were completely unwearable. In my past life, I scrimped and saved only to benefit others. But this time, such a thing will never happen again. I took all the fabric coupons, meat coupons, grain coupons, and money from the box, put them in my pocket, and strode out the door. In this lifetime, I'd rather give these things away to others than let Nola Sai and her daughter get them at a bargain. I gave part of the fabric coupons, meat coupons, and grain coupons to the military families in need within the compound. Then I took the remaining coupons to the supply and marketing cooperative. I splurged by using the fabric coupons to make 4 sets of clothes for myself, after exchanging food stamps for 3 pounds of pork ribs, eggs, and vegetables. I returned home again. Entering the courtyard, I spotted the tall and upright Sage Jiang from afar. He stood with his back to me, talking to Nola Sai, who was holding her hand and teary-eyed. Upon seeing me, she called out first, "Xiaoli, you're back." Sage Jiang turned his head, looking at me with a very serious expression, and immediately began questioning, "What's wrong with you? Why did you leave your unwashed clothes on the floor outside, and why didn't you respond when Nola spoke to you?" I stared fixedly at the man for whom I had wasted over 30 years of my previous life. At this moment, Sage Jiang was in his youth, his features indescribably handsome. In my past life, I had been utterly infatuated with his face, once vowed to go through fire and water for him without hesitation. Yet after experiencing a lifetime of life and death, seeing this face that once made me infatuated no longer stirs the desperate, all-consuming love in my heart. Only disgust and hatred surge within me. Seeing me stare at him without speaking, Sage Jiang furrowed his brows and sternly demanded, "Why aren't you speaking? I'm asking you a question." Seeing Sage Jiang's harsh attitude towards me, a glint of satisfaction flashed in Nola Sai's eyes. She spoke in a sweet, affected tone. "Xiaoli, did I do something wrong? Did I upset you? If so, just tell me directly, and I'll change." In her past life, young Xiaoli was foolishly silent, as if her mouth were glued shut, never defending herself and letting the eloquent Nola Sai frame her and pin labels on her. But the reborn young Xiaoli wouldn't be so stupid this time. I watched as the other residents of the compound returned from work one after another and raised my voice. "Comrade Nola, it's all my fault that you can't do laundry or household chores because of your hand injury. I genuinely want to help you wash the clothes, cook the meals, and tidy up the house. But my body just can't take it anymore." As I raised my voice and shouted this, everyone returning from work stopped and turned to look at us. Sage Jiang sensed the gazes of the crowd and tried to stop me, but I ignored him and continued loudly, "I just passed out while doing your laundry, lying on the floor for quite a while with no one to help. I'm pregnant. You know, if things keep going like this, forget about the baby in my belly. I might not even make it myself." Hearing this, Sage Jiang finally remembered my pregnancy. "If you're pregnant, why aren't you resting? I'd love to rest." "But didn't you say you felt sorry for Comrade Nola because her hand was injured and she couldn't take care of herself? So you asked me to help her. These past few days, since Comrade Nola can't use her hands, All the household chores have fallen on me. It's all my fault. How could my body be so weak? I'm the one to blame. I put on a show of loudly apologizing and admitting fault, drawing the attention of the neighbors who began to gather around. Coach Lee's wife looked at me with heartache and spoke first. "Xiali, you silly girl, going out to wash clothes for others in such cold weather while pregnant. What am I supposed to say to you?" Secretary Zhao's mother chimed in. "Exactly. Other families pamper their pregnant daughters-in-law, but you, not only do you neglect your own health during pregnancy, you even work for others. Aren't you afraid of harming the baby in your womb? I was just worried about Comrade Sai. Her hand was injured. And she's raising a child alone. Life isn't easy for her. You should worry about yourself first. Look how thin you've become. Don't you know pregnant women need rest and nourishment?" After finishing her words, Mother Zhao glanced at Nola Sai with disdain. "Raised fair and plump, aren't her hands perfectly fine too? Besides, why should others do her own tasks? It's utterly ridiculous. Clearly, she's just taking advantage of Xiaoli's simple and kind-hearted nature." Nola Sai's face turned crimson from the scolding, tears streaming down as she stomped her feet, covered her face, and ran back into the house. Seeing this, Sage Jiang's heart ached. He shot me a glare and hurried after her. Witnessing the scene, old Mrs. Zhao spat in contempt. "Fox spirit, shameless creature." Director Lee's wife also sneered, "Putting on an act in front of so many people. TSK, what a pity such acting skills aren't used on stage." With an innocent expression, I asked. "Comrade Sai is different from us. She's a city girl who can't bear the slightest grievance. Pa, that trick of hers would only fool a simple-minded girl like you. I say, Xiali, don't you have any thoughts at all about working so hard without complaint? What's on your mind? If you keep being this naive, your man will be snatched away by someone else." I gasped and covered my mouth. This can't be true, can it? You never know. You better keep a close eye on your Sage. Or that seductress might just steal him away. No way, impossible. They're just friends. Sage just pities her for not having a husband. He only wanted to help Comrade Sai by giving her and her daughter his family's meat coupons, grain coupons, and fabric coupons. He even gives Comrade Sai 50 yuan every month. What? Both the wife of Instructor Lee and old Lady Zhao, the clerk's mother, widened their eyes in shock, with an innocent and foolish expression. I blurted out everything about how Sage Jiang had been helping Nola Sai and her daughter to old Lady Zhao and Instructor Lee's wife. Old Lady Zhao and Instructor Lee's wife stared at me as if I were an alien, shaking his head with eyes full of sympathy. From what I know of these two, it won't be long before the affair between Sage Jiang and Nola Sai spreads throughout the entire compound. After venting my grievances, I went home with peace of mind to stew ribs and steam eggs. Preparing to nourish myself, dinner was quickly ready. 2 large bowls of rice paired with rib soup and steamed eggs, all devoured in no time. I feel much more energetic now. With a full stomach and renewed strength, I cleaned up the dishes, washed the pots and pans, then went back to my room to lie down and started thinking about what to do next. According to the timeline, it's almost the time when I was supposed to get my job confirmation in my previous life. The job confirmation form that should have been mine was filled with Nola Sai's name by Sage Jiang, who claimed that Nola Sai needed the job more than I did. Nola Sai replaced me as a full-time employee, and from now on, she will accompany Sage Jiang with love and happiness for a long time. In this lifetime, I won't be foolish enough to give up my own job to Nola Sai, since Sage Jiang cares so much about Nola Sai and wants to take care of her and her daughter for a lifetime. Then I'll grant his wish. I'll abort the child and divorce Sage Jiang. Lying in bed making plans, I soon fell asleep, not knowing when Sage Jiang returned. In the morning when I got up, I found Sage Jiang unexpectedly making breakfast in the kitchen. Seeing me come out, he placed the breakfast on the dining table. He called out to me, "Xiali, breakfast is ready." I walked to the dining table and sat down. Sage Jiang handed me a pair of chopsticks. "Xiali, do we still have the grain, meat, and cloth ration coupons at home? Quickly take some out to give to Nola Sai later. The winter is too cold, and their clothes are too thin. They'll freeze." Nola Sai and her daughter's clothes are all brand new, with several sets to rotate through, yet the cotton-padded jacket I'm wearing was made for my wedding, the only one I have, unchanged for 2 years. Sage Jiang turns a blind eye to it. He truly treats Nola Sai and her daughter very well. My heart ached as I lowered my head to sip the porridge without saying a word. Sage Jiang took my silence as agreement and continued speaking. By the way, Nola's daughter is at an age where she needs proper nutrition. We can't let her go hungry either, so you should give them all your meat ration coupons. This finally made me snap. There are no more fabric or meat ration coupons left. How could there be none left? Sage Jiang frowned at me and said earnestly, Xiali, as a military family member, you must prioritize the people, share their urgency, and think what they think. I took a sip of porridge, set down the bowl, and slowly asked him, by helping the people, do you mean assisting all those in need or specifically Comrade Sai? Sage Jiang's face stiffened. He never dreamed someone as quiet as me would say such a thing. I pretended not to notice the awkwardness on his face and counted on my fingers. Comrade Wu from the west is in dire straits. 3 children with no clothes to wear, barefoot in the dead of winter, pitiful to see. As a military spouse, I simply couldn't stand by and watch them suffer like that. So I gave them all my fabric ration coupons to buy clothes. Oh, and political instructor he from the south has a sick elderly mother at home, with 6 or 7 mouths to feed. I heard they haven't had meat in days. The whole family is as thin as bamboo sticks. They're the ones who need help the most, so I'll deliver my meat ration coupons to them right away. Sage Jiang's face turned ashen, looking as if he'd just eaten something vile. Didn't he keep preaching about helping Nola Sai and her daughter as if it were some noble act of aiding the masses? I'll make him understand who truly needs help. Faced with my direct confrontation, Sage Jiang was left speechless and humiliated. After breakfast, he headed straight to the military base. I tidied up and left the house as well, according to the timeline from my previous life. Today is the day I should receive my official employment notice. I arrived at the workplace, and just like in my past life, the supervisor handed out the official employment application forms. In my past life, after getting the application form, I happily went home to show it to Sage Jiang and discuss how to fill it out with him. Then Sage Jiang effortlessly gave the job to Nola Sai. Naturally, I wouldn't do such a foolish thing in this lifetime. I carefully wrote my name on the application form in neat handwriting. After completing the application form, I took another look at the registration form for applying to go to the Great Northern Wilderness that the leader had handed out. I wrote my name on the registration form and submitted it to the leader. The leader was astonished. Why do you want to go to the Great Northern Wilderness? Doesn't Battalion Commander Jiang, no, soon to be Commander Jiang, from your family object, does he agree to let you go? This is my decision, right now. My sole desire is to serve the motherland. Sage Jiang, as a soldier, will surely support my decision. You two are truly admirable. The leader gave me a thumbs up and took the application form. Before leaving, the leader told me that if I was confirmed to be selected for the Great Northern Wilderness, then I would have to set off on the 5th of next month. I glanced at the time. There were still over 20 days left. I still have plenty of time to prepare. On my way home from work in the afternoon, I ran into several neighbors who were all earnestly inquiring about Sage Jiang and Nola Sai's affairs. With 3 women making a whole drama, everyone looked at me with sympathy, implicitly condemning Nola Sai for being shameless. It seems that Instructor Lee's wife and Clark Zhao's mother have been spreading the news. All the neighbors in this compound have received my help, and everyone sympathizes with me. Standing firmly on my side, they said Nola Sai was shameless and bullied others, and they even suggested I report Nola Sai for undermining military marriages. I had no intention of doing so. Though I despised Nola Sai and Sage Jiang for their shamelessness, I never intended to seek revenge against them. Part amicably, as long as they don't go too far, I'm willing to divorce and let them be. While thinking this, a neighbor shared unexpected news with me. Nola Sai went to the hospital during the day to see Dr. Wang Tingting from the obstetrics and gynecology department, and stayed behind closed doors for a long time without coming out. The neighbor wondered if Nola Sai went to obstetrics because she's pregnant, advising me to be careful. My expression remained unchanged, but my heart turned icy cold. I knew why Nola Sai went to the hospital. Sage Jiang had been promoted. She was planning to harm me and the child in my belly. Just like in my past life, since Nola Sai refuses to repent, then don't blame me for what comes next. I strode home in large steps, and sure enough, I saw Nola Sai at the door. Nola Sai looked at me with venom in her eyes, As soon as I opened the door, she followed me into my house. After closing the door and making sure no one else was around, she dropped her pretense. Yang Xiaoli, you did it on purpose, didn't you? I grinned. I don't know what you're talking about. Stop pretending. Last night, you deliberately spoke like that in the yard, and then secretly badmouthed me to Zhao Wanshu's mother and instructor Li's wife, ruining my reputation and Sage's. You're absolutely unreasonable. Ruin your reputation. What reputation do you even have? I looked at Nola Sai with confusion. You're a widow who lost her husband, yet you're constantly flirting with a married man, taking his food and possessions, and clinging to him day and night. Is this the behavior of someone with any self-respect? You, never expecting someone as slow-tongued as me to counterattack with such words. Nola Sai was stunned and left speechless for a moment. I sneered at her. Stop pretending. Do you think I don't know what you are? You're just relying on your past connection with Sage Jiang to freeload and string him along. If you truly cared about Sage Jiang, would you have abandoned him for another man back then? Nola Sai's face turned beet red as I hit the nail on the head. Yang Xiaoli. So this is who you really are, playing the innocent and pitiful card while being a wolf in sheep's clothing. Ha, I underestimated you, I retorted sarcastically. Compared to you, I'm just a small fry. I've never spoken such harsh words to her face before. Nola Sai simply couldn't tolerate it. Look at your utterly provincial appearance. If I hadn't left back then, do you think Sage would have married you? He only married you because he had no other choice. He just wanted an obedient servant. He doesn't love you at all. What if Sage Jiang loves you? You're still like a rat in the gutter, unable to see the light, only able to sneak around with him, if you're so capable. Why don't you make him divorce me and marry you? Nola Sai's face turned as colorful as a dye shop after my verbal assault. Think being pregnant gives you free rein. Today I'll show you what I'm capable of. Let me tell you, Yang Xiaoli, even if I kill the child in your belly right now, Sage wouldn't spare you a second thought. This was the truth. After all, it had indeed happened in the previous life. In the past life, it was Nola Sai who ordered her daughter to push me. Is she planning to do it herself this time? No time like the present. With a cold laugh, I continued to provoke Nola Sai. Oh, what a touching love story. Are you sure you truly love Sage Jiang? Or are you just keeping Sage Jiang as a backup, now that the man you were devoted to has died and turned into an urn? And seeing Sage Jiang thriving and about to get promoted, you shamelessly come crawling back. Anyone can see what you're up to. Don't you just want to have an affair with Sage Jiang? If you're already having an affair with Sage Jiang, why pretend otherwise? Trying to play the saint while acting like a whore. Nola Sai looked at me as if she'd seen a ghost. I'm usually honest and kind, never speaking harshly to anyone. She openly revealed her dark and filthy thoughts without any concealment, pushing Nola Sai to the peak of fury. Exposed and humiliated, Nola Sai's face twisted in rage as she charged at me, screaming, Yang Xiaoli, you're asking for death. Just wait and see how I end you today. I had been prepared and didn't dodge. Instead, I delivered a powerful kick straight at the charging Nola Sai. Nola Sai's sole focus was on targeting my stomach. Her intentions were clearly written on her face. She wanted to kill the child in my womb. Nola Sai didn't expect me to kick her first, and my kick landed solidly. Having done hard labor for years, I was far from weak. She was no match for me. Nola Sai, who had never lifted a finger for rough work. Nola Sai let out a cry of pain and fell to the ground with a thud. I watched Nola Sai faceplant into the mud with a cold smirk, then promptly threw myself onto the ground, unleashing earth-shattering wails. Someone help! Nola Sai hit me. My stomach hurt so bad, my voice was piercingly loud, and at my cries, neighbors from all around the courtyard came rushing out. They found me lying on the ground, clutching my stomach tightly while screaming as if my heart were being torn apart. Coach Li's wife was the first to rush to my side, followed by Clark Zhao's mother. What happened? Nola Sai hit me. My stomach, ouch, it hurts so much. I clutched my stomach and kept moaning. Over there. Nola Sai was staggering to her feet, dazed. When I kicked her down earlier, her nose had slammed into the table. Blood gushed from her nose uncontrollably. Upon hearing me say she had hit me, Nola Sai still tried to defend herself. No, it wasn't me. It was Yang Xiaoli who... Before she could finish her sentence, old Mrs. Zhao shoved her aside, taking the opportunity. Mrs. Li also kicked Nola Sai, sending her tumbling to the ground again. She cried out in pain. But there wasn't a single person here who cared for her now. Nola Sai's cries of pain had no effect whatsoever. Her sole focus was on coaxing Sage Jiang, performing for Sage Jiang's benefit, while maintaining a disdainful attitude toward other compound residents. But I'm different, I'm the good-natured one. Never playing both sides, I've helped many people in the compound, and now they all rush to protect me. Several family members who had always disliked her stepped over Nola Sai in their rush to help me up. Hurry, someone get Xiaoli to the hospital, she's pregnant, what if something happens to the baby? Coincidentally, Officer Zhao had just returned from a mission and immediately stopped his car to help me inside. As the car left the courtyard, I glanced back at Nola Sai through the window. Her face was covered in blood, her expression dazed as she watched the direction I left. Nola Sai probably never dreamed in her wildest dreams that someone as quiet as me would counterattack so fiercely. After all, such preemptive slander was something only she, Nola Sai, would do. She was quick with her words, bad-mouthing me in front of Sage Jiang and teaming up with her daughter, Little Pearl, to trip me up. Watching me being scolded and berated by Sage Jiang, she and Little Pearl hid in the corner, laughing heartily. In Nola Sai's mind, I was nothing but a hopelessly stupid fool. Dealing with someone like me didn't require much effort from her. That's why she was bewildered, unable to comprehend why I had suddenly changed and fought back against her. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, laughing coldly in my heart. This is just the beginning. The grievances I suffered in my past life, I will reclaim them one by one in this lifetime. After being sent to the hospital, I was quickly taken into the obstetrics and gynecology examination room. The doctor who examined me was the same one who performed my surgery in my past life. Her surname is Wang, and her name is Wang Tingting, the first cousin of Nola Sai. Nola Sai went to see Wang Tingting during the day, and they discussed behind closed doors for a long time. I know they must be plotting against me. Wang Tingting only gave me a quick glance before concluding that I had injured my body from the fall and that the baby would miscarry soon, insisting on immediate surgery. They also said my uterus and fallopian tubes had suffered varying degrees of damage and might need to be removed. The people who brought me here didn't understand anything. Whatever Wang Tingting said went. I was wheeled into the operating room, and Wang Tingting was preparing for the surgery, tears streaming down my face. Battalion Commander Zhao's mother and Company Commander Li's wife stayed by my side to comfort me. Both of them genuinely felt sorry for me. Xiaoli, you're still young. This was an accident. You'll have another child in the future. I grabbed the hand of Coach Li's wife and whispered urgently, Sister Li, could you please call Director Zheng for me? Make sure Director Zheng comes right away. Director Zheng was the hospital's leading obstetrics and gynecology expert. Hearing me specifically request Director Zheng, Sister Li was momentarily taken aback, then she quickly responded, Xiaoli, wait here, I'll go get Director Zheng right now. Aunt Li went to find Director Zheng, while Wang Tingting couldn't wait to push me into the operating room. She performed the surgery on me as if in a past life, and I could feel my child disappearing. The pain continued, and I saw the cruelty and heartlessness in Wang Tingting's eyes. Just as she raised the scalpel to cut my fallopian tubes, the operating room door was pushed open as Instructor Li's wife rushed in with Director Zheng in tow. Director Zheng sharply stopped Wang Tingting. Stop immediately. Let me examine her first. Director Zheng was a seasoned gynecology expert, and Wang Tingting's methods were utterly inadequate in her presence, clearly guilty. Wang Tingting's hands trembled so much she could barely hold the scalpel upon seeing Director Zheng. I tearfully told Director Zheng that Wang Tingting wanted to remove my uterus and fallopian tubes. Director Zheng's face darkened like the bottom of a pot. The uterus and fallopian tubes are perfectly fine, aren't they? Why remove them? How can you act as the lead surgeon like this? Director Zheng couldn't understand Wang Tingting's actions, and as a serious medical incident. Wang Tingting was suspended pending investigation. I was sent back to the ward, lying in bed, tears streaming down my face. I couldn't stop crying. In both lifetimes, I failed to keep my child. In the previous life, it was because I was powerless and fell victim to Nola Sai's schemes. And in this life, I chose to give up this child myself. I know Nola Sai won't let me keep this child. After all, she's waiting to take my place as the chief's wife. The surgeon who operated on me, Wang Tingting, is Nola Sai's cousin. In my past life, after Nola Sai's daughter, Little Pearl, pushed me down, It was her who performed the surgery. My child didn't have to die, and I shouldn't have been left unable to bear children. It was all Nola Tsai's ruthless ambition to rise to power, colluding with her cousin, that killed my child and left me infertile. In this life, my child was still not saved, but I won't let Wang Tingting off the hook. Director Zheng is a very responsible and conscientious doctor. In the end, Wang Tingting was fired for serious medical malpractice. Sage Jiang returned 3 days later. He pushed open the ward door and walked in with a chill. As I leaned halfway against the bed, watching Sage Jiang, his handsome face was tightly furrowed, showing no trace of concern for me, no expression of heartache for the lost child, only displeasure and irritation. My heart grew colder bit by bit as I stared fixedly at Sage Jiang, watching him close the door and approach the bedside. Listening to his heartless reprimands directed at me. Xiali, I always thought you were sensible and considerate of the bigger picture. I never expected I overestimated you. You actually became jealous because I took care of Nola Tsai, and shamelessly went around tarnishing Nola Tsai's reputation. Do you even have any awareness of being a military family member? You've let me down so much. Disappointed, because I caused his beloved woman's cousin to be fired and lose her job, because of my actions. His beloved Nola Tsai became the target of public criticism. He couldn't bear to see Nola Tsai being looked down upon and gossiped about. But what I lost was his child. How could he not feel even the slightest bit of heartache or reluctance? Sage Jiang had no idea what was going through my mind and continued to scold me harshly for a while. In the end, he declared firmly, "This time, you were in the wrong. After you're discharged, you must go apologize to Nola Tsai and ask for her forgiveness." I stared unblinkingly at Sage Jiang, watching as the youthful, handsome features of Sage Jiang overlapped with those of the Sage Jiang who would rise to prominence 30 years later. Whether in this life or the last, he never spared a single thought for me. His heart and eyes were solely fixed on Nola Tsai and her daughter. It was an answer I had known all along, one that needed no further confirmation. Looking straight at him, I enunciated each word clearly. "You're right. I truly lack consideration for the bigger picture and am unworthy of being the family member of Chief Jiang. So, Sage Jiang, let's get a divorce." Sage Jiang's expression froze instantly, as if he couldn't believe his own ears. "What did you say? Divorce?" "Yes, I want a divorce from you. Let's file for divorce right now." The words confirming the divorce came from me, and Sage Jiang clearly panicked. "Xiaoli, what do you mean? We're perfectly fine. Why should we get a divorce? Are we really fine?" "Are you sure?" I couldn't help but laugh. "It's been 5 years since we met and got married. In these 5 years, have you ever cared about me? Do you know what I think, what I need?" Sage Jiang fell silent, not knowing how to answer me. After all, since we met and established our relationship, it has always been me who has been giving unilaterally. He enjoyed my meticulous care, relished how everything revolved around him, and treated his words as absolute commands to me. He knew I loved him humbly, adored him to the core of my being so willingly self-degrading. Why would he need to pay attention to me? Why would he need to know my thoughts? His heart was solely occupied by Nola Tsai, and he was determined to dedicate everything to her. Since that's the case, I'll let him have his way. I voiced Sage Jiang's obsession. "Nola Tsai said she's the woman in your heart, that you've longed for her for years and would do anything for her. Since that's the case, I'll grant your wish. Let's get a divorce." When I exposed his thoughts, Sage Jiang surprisingly didn't admit it. "No, that's not true. Xiaoli, you've misunderstood us. Nola Tsai and I aren't what you think. Is that so? Then tell me, what's your relationship with them? You generously gave half of your salary to Nola Tsai and her daughter, yet you've never given me a single cent. You worry about Nola Tsai not having clothes to wear, about her and her daughter going hungry and cold. But have you ever even noticed what I eat or what I wear?" Sage Jiang was stumped by my question. After a long pause, he finally said, I just pitied her. There are countless pitiable people in this world. Why haven't you given your salary to anyone else? Why only to Nola Tsai?" Sage Jiang had nothing to say. A flash of shame and irritation crossed his face. "Xiaoli, I know my past actions have caused misunderstandings, and I admit my mistakes. Starting now, I will change. Let's not get divorced." It's actually quite surprising to me that Sage Jiang refuses to divorce. He clearly likes Nola Tsai so much. So why does he have to sneak around with her? Why can't he give Nola Tsai a proper and open chance to stay by his side? I just can't figure it out. No matter what, the divorce is non-negotiable. Sage Jiang refuses to divorce, but I'll make him have no choice. I was discharged from the hospital the next day. I had just rested at home for a few minutes when Nola Sai knocked and came in. There's a scar on her nose that looks quite comical. I stared at her coldly. What do you want from me? You're not welcome here. After glancing around to confirm no outsiders were in the room, Nola Sai sneered. Young Xiaoli, I never expected you to pull such a trick. I underestimated you. I looked at her coldly. You didn't come to me just to say these few words, did you? Of course not. I already know about your tactic of retreating to advance by proposing to divorce Sage. Don't think I don't see through it. Young Xiaoli, you're quite clever to pull this move at this time. Do you really think Sage is unwilling to divorce you? He has no choice. What do you mean by that? Sage has just been promoted. And as you know, the party's management is very strict now. The slightest scandal could ruin Sage's future, so he's only keeping you from divorcing for the sake of the bigger picture. I see, Sage Jiang won't get a divorce for the sake of his future, so your plan to have an affair with him is going to fail, isn't it? Hearing this, Nola Sai couldn't hide her embarrassment. Young Xiaoli, mind your manners. If you dare to do it, why are you afraid of being talked about? I won't waste my time arguing with someone as uncouth as you. I came here today specifically to inform you. Sage can't divorce you for the sake of his future, but to make it up to me, he agreed to let me take over your job. Young Xiaoli, soon you'll be unemployed. Is that so? Then we'll wait and see. Nola Sai left with a smug expression, thinking that taking over my job was a done deal. She thought I would give up my job for Sage Jiang, and that she would thrive just like in her previous life. She's overthinking it. Sage Jiang came back with a lot of groceries, including pork ribs, eggs, and fish. His attitude toward me improved significantly compared to before. He initiated conversations and even made me a bowl of brown sugar water. Then he went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Soon, a table full of delicious dinner was ready. Sage Jiang called me to eat, and I silently sat down to devour the meal. He had been watching me carefully, and finally, after I had eaten and drunk my fill and put down my chopsticks, Sage Jiang spoke. Xiaoli, I have something to tell you. I nodded and looked at him. Sage Jiang cleared his throat. I thought about it all night last night and deeply realized my mistake. I shouldn't have gotten too close to Nola Sai out of sympathy. Nor should I have neglected you, my wife. I know I was wrong, and I will change from now on. I will do my best to cut off all contact with Nola Sai. I didn't say anything. Just quietly looked at him. After making his promise, Sage Jiang suddenly changed the subject. Xiaoli, Nola Sai is currently unemployed and raising a child alone. It's very hard and pitiful. As a soldier, helping the people is our duty. Here's what I think. As long as Nola Sai gets a formal job and can support her child, I'll have no reason to help her anymore. So, could you give your job regularization quota to Nola Sai? I couldn't help but laugh. It was exactly what Nola Sai had said. If I hadn't lived through a lifetime and known what would happen later, I would have foolishly believed Sage Jiang, wouldn't I? What a pity. I shook my head. Why should I give my job position to Nola Sai? We have another, better solution, don't we? A look of confusion flashed across Sage Jiang's face. What solution? I'll divorce you, and you can devote yourself entirely to taking care of Nola Sai and her daughter. Wouldn't that make everyone happy? Sage Jiang's expression turned grim. I said I won't divorce you. Why won't you divorce me? I asked him with a smile. You're my wife. We have a good relationship. Why should we divorce? You and I have a good relationship. Isn't that a joke? If you cared even the slightest bit about me, you would care about the child in my womb. You would loathe the person who killed the child in my womb. But that's not the case now, is it? Sage Jiang, it seems to me your heart is completely filled with Nola Sai and her daughter. You're afraid Nola Sai has no job. You worry she might be cold or hungry. But in your heart, there's not a shred of concern for me or my dead child. Why should I stay with someone like you? Sage Jiang's face turned extremely grim, his expression crumbling as I hit the nail on the head. Young Xiaoli, how have you become so unreasonable? Have I changed? Or is it because of you? I've toiled without complaint while you exploited me, and you're satisfied with me making wedding dresses for you all. I'd like to, but that's not how things should be. My relationship with Nola Sai isn't what you think. It's completely innocent. Why won't you believe me? I don't care about what's between you two. All I want to say now is that I won't let anyone take my work away from me. I emphasized each word deliberately. Divorcing me is the best solution. Your promotion has come with a significant raise. Your salary alone would be more than enough to support Nola Sai and her daughter, Yang Xiaoli. I won't divorce you. Put that thought out of your mind. Let me make it clear. Military marriages are sacred and inviolable. Since you married me, you'll be my wife for life. Sage Jiang slammed the door behind him after delivering those harsh words, leaving me sitting quietly in the chair, my heart frozen with cold despair. I had thought that with things having come to this point, Sage Jiang would have been more than happy to divorce me. Yet he refused, even going so far as to threaten me with the sanctity of military marriage. Why does he have to be like this? I know very well in my heart that Sage Jiang has no feelings for me. So why won't he agree to a divorce? It's nothing more than fearing it might affect his promotion. Nothing more than wanting me to give up my job for Nola Sai. Nothing more than wanting to exploit my willingness to work hard without complaint to serve as his old maid taking care of his parents. Early the next morning, I went to my workplace, and the leader called me in. Xiao Yang, the plan for you to go to the Great Northern Wilderness might fall through. Why? Your family's General Jiang came to see us. First and foremost, you're a military family member, and only secondarily are you our employee. Between being a military family member and our employee, your primary responsibility is to fulfill your role as a military family member. So, to ensure General Jiang has no worries. Your job might. The leader has made it so clear. What else is there for me to not understand? In my past life, I was obedient and hardworking, so Sage Jiang effortlessly gave my job to Nola Sai. This time around, I refused to comply, so he has no choice but to use his power to pressure me. Since Sage Jiang doesn't agree to the divorce, I truly have no way to end the marriage with him. I currently have no ability to stand against Sage Jiang, although his promotion doesn't make him all-powerful. Just by using a military family member to stabilize the home front, he can completely control me. I left the office in a daze and returned home. Nola Sai must have gotten the news and was deliberately waiting to mock me. Seeing me return, she sneered in a shrill voice. Didn't you tell me not to covet your job? Still dare to talk big like that now? I really wanted to slap Nola Sai's face when I saw it. Just as I was about to act, Nola Sai sneered and spoke. Yang Xiaoli, have you also come back? I remember the you from the previous life wasn't like this. Was she? The urge to act was forcefully suppressed the moment I heard Nola Sai's words. I took a deep breath and looked at Nola Sai, saying, What do you mean? What past life? Still pretending. Dare you say you haven't come back again? Nola Sai sneered. In your past life, you were timid and submissive, treating Sage as your everything. If Sage told you to go down, you wouldn't dare go up. Now you dare to defy Sage's words, even dare to scheme against me. Who would believe you're not someone who's come back again? Nola Sai had laid it out so plainly that I stopped pretending. So, you've come back too. Yes, it's all because you kicked me. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have had to come here and live this damn poor life. Speaking of which, life 30 years later was truly changing with each passing day. Nothing like now, with no decent food to eat, no proper clothes to wear, just poverty and backwardness. Nola Sai didn't even try to hide her disdain, and no wonder. She couldn't stand the current state of things. After all, in her previous life, she had lived in comfort and luxury in her later years, enjoying the best life alongside Sage Jiang, living in a Western-style villa with maids and guards at her side. Feasting on delicacies from land and sea, it's no wonder she finds the present so unbearable. Thinking about my past life, my heart stirred. Nola Sai, since you've also been reborn, let's lay our cards on the table. Do you want my job, or are you eyeing the position of Sage Jiang's wife? Nola Sai giggled. Of course, I want both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Now there's only one choice. Which one do you want? Let me remind you, the job is hard and exhausting. Nowhere near as glamorous as being the wife of a high-ranking official, Sage Jiang is still so young, with a bright future ahead of him. Don't you want to live in the limelight? Nola Sai had lived decades of good days with Sage Jiang and knew all too well how his life would turn out. Her heart was moved, just as I said. What job could compare to the glory of being Sage Jiang's wife? Her eyes darted around. So what do you mean? I can help you achieve that. As long as you can get me divorced from Sage Jiang, I'll focus on my work, and you can marry him to become the first lady. rising step by step in the future. Nola Sai didn't just want to be the First Lady, she wanted to be the wife of Sage Jiang at an even higher level. The calculation in her eyes didn't escape my notice. Finally, after a moment of contemplation, Nola Sai asked me, "How will you help me?" I smiled and replied, "By making your wish come true ahead of schedule, of course." 2 nights later, in the dead of night, something shocking happened in the compound that left everyone stunned. Nola Sai and Sage Jiang were caught red-handed by me, the lawful wife, stark naked in bed. In the dead of night, my wails and screams carried far through the darkness. Lights turned on in every household in the courtyard as they watched me kick open the door. Nola Sai still tried to stop me. "Young Xiaoli, what are you doing? We had an agreement." Sage Jiang was utterly confused. What's going on here?" The two of them scrambled to find clothes to put on, but unfortunately, I had already swiftly snatched their clothes and thrown them outside. Sage Jiang flew into a rage. "Young Xiaoli, give me back my clothes. There must be some misunderstanding here. Let's talk this through properly." How could I possibly give him the chance to talk properly? I continued screaming at the top of my lungs. Soon, the room was packed with onlookers. My God! Chief Jiang and Nola Sai are actually brazenly fooling around at home. Is there no justice left in this world? No, it's not like this. Sage Jiang still wanted to explain and deny. Meanwhile, the naked Nola Sai, under the gaze of the crowd, also felt ashamed and desperately tried to burrow into Sage Jiang's arms for protection. Sage Jiang, being watched by so many people, could imagine how angry and embarrassed he was. He pushed Nola Sai away abruptly, causing her naked body to be exposed to everyone's view. After all, she's the white moonlight in his heart. Sage Jiang tucked Nola Sai in tighter with the blanket. He tried to plead with me. How could this be? There must be some misunderstanding. Xiaoli, you have to explain for me. I wiped my eyes with my onion-scented hand, and tears instantly poured down like rain. You've been sneaking around behind my back more than once. I've known for a long time that you two were having an affair. But there was nothing I could do. I tearfully recounted to the political commissar of the military district, who rushed over upon hearing the news. Sage Jiang and Nola Sai have been having an affair for quite some time. I discovered it earlier, and Nola Sai even pushed me, causing me to miscarry. Sage Jiang knew I lost the child and my health was damaged, yet he ignored me, afraid it would affect his career. He warned me not to speak out and even threatened to give my job to Nola Sai. I didn't. "Young Xiaoli, you're spouting nonsense," Sage Jiang retorted, his eyes wide with fury. "Whether I'm lying or not, you can ask our superiors. I was even planning to follow the organization's call to go to the Great Northern Wilderness. I had decided to divorce him to let them be together, but they still wouldn't leave me alone." I cried with genuine emotion, and the other family members in the compound were indignant and spoke up for me. "That's right, Xiaoli is such a simple and honest girl. Look at the clothes she's wearing. What kind of outfit is that? And then there's that woman surnamed Sai, without a job. She dresses up all fancy every day, eating well and living luxuriously. Yes, it's said that Chief Jiang even gives her half of his salary to spend. All the meat, grain, and fabric ration coupons in the household are prioritized for Nola Sai and her daughter, while Xiaoli has to make do with cornbread every day. It's not just that. Xiaoli, even while pregnant, was forced to do laundry for Nola Sai and her daughter." As everyone spoke their minds, the political commissar's expression grew increasingly grim. "Comrade Xiao Yang, you've been wronged. Military marriages are sacred and inviolable. This matter doesn't just concern military spouses, it applies equally to us soldiers. We will definitely give you a proper resolution." Sage Jiang was suspended pending investigation. The military district leadership took this matter very seriously and dispatched an investigation team to look into it. Sage Jiang's assistance to Nola Sai and her daughter was carried out openly, without any in-depth investigation. Those in the know had already spread the story far and wide. The incident where Nola Sai pushed me, causing a miscarriage, was also widely known. Moreover, Sage Jiang's visit to my workplace leadership to demand that I give my job to Nola Sai was irrefutable evidence. Sage Jiang's defense was feeble and utterly unconvincing. The military district leadership was deeply disappointed in Sage Jiang. His career has come to an end. As for Nola Sai, she was detained on charges of undermining military marriages. Nola Sai was dumbfounded. She kept protesting her innocence, claiming that this was all my scheme. That I had agreed to her being with Sage Jiang. She said I was cruel-hearted and couldn't bear to see her and Sage Jiang happy together. No one believed Nola Sai's words. Everyone thought she had gone mad. After all, who would abandon such a promising husband like Sage Jiang, not to mention, in everyone's eyes, I was the epitome of honesty. Everyone knew I was the one being bullied by that despicable pair, that I was the hard-working and uncomplaining ox. Nola Sai was in despair and finally made a request to see me. I agreed and visited her at the detention center. Nola Sai looked haggard, with swollen eyelids and a sallow, dull complexion. When she saw me, she tried to jump up in resentment but was helplessly pulled back by the handcuffs and sat down again. Young Xiaoli, why did you scheme against me? Why? I looked coldly at Nola Sai. At this point, you still don't know the reason. Aren't you aware of what you've done to me? I don't know, Young Xiaoli. Quickly tell them this is all a misunderstanding. You and Sage had a falling out. You can't do this to him. He holds a high-ranking position. He can't be suspended. I just sneered. Why would I lie to the organization? It's a fact that you violated military marriage laws, engaged in an affair, and displayed improper conduct, isn't it? But you made me do it. You gave me the opportunity. You deliberately wanted revenge on us. Nola Sai finally understood. Young Xiaoli, how vicious you are. Are you trying to kill us? You're leaving us no way out at all. I nodded. I had no intention of getting entangled with them. In fact, from the beginning, all I wanted was to divorce and serve my country. But Nola Sai and Sage Jiang refused to let it go. Nola Sai wanted to kill my child. She wanted her cousin to turn me into a barren woman, just like in the previous life. Her heart is utterly wicked. She is a demon. As for Sage Jiang, I even took the initiative to propose divorce to set him free. Yet he still refuses to let me go. He covets my career and, for the sake of his future, chooses to secretly collude with Nola Sai. They treat me like a fool. They still want to control my life. Why is this happening? I only did what I was supposed to do. I just sought justice for my child who died unjustly in my past life, and for that poor young Xiaoli. In the end, Nola Sai was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Sage Jiang was expelled from the military. And I took the opportunity to file for divorce from Sage Jiang. The divorce proceedings went surprisingly smoothly. On the very day I received the divorce papers, I left with the work team for the Great Northern Wilderness. For over 20 years in the Great Northern Wilderness, I followed the organization's call to battle nature, going wherever I was needed. I dedicated my youth to the Great Northern Wilderness, never complaining of hardship or fatigue. Life in the Great Northern Wilderness was tough, but undoubtedly filled with joy and a sense of accomplishment. I was commended by the organization for meritorious service on multiple occasions. My name has appeared multiple times in newspapers and on television. 20 years later, remaining true to my mission, I went to the capital to receive an award. The development of our motherland is advancing with each passing day. Walking on the brightly lit streets, I felt a surge of emotions in my heart. I am no longer the aimless young Xiaoli of my past life. This life of mine has been meaningful and full of drive. On the evening before the day when my comrades and I, who were to be honored, were preparing to return after receiving the awards, we went to the store together to buy gifts for our colleagues. Passing by the entrance of a hotel, we saw fully armed police officers. Several police officers were restraining a man and handcuffing him, while a body lay on the ground, blood gushing out. My gaze unconsciously swept over the face of the man being restrained by the police. A familiar feeling made me stop in my tracks, and I looked at him again. It was still that handsome face, but now marked with traces of hardship and the passage of time. Unlike before, the man in handcuffs locked eyes with me, and in that moment, he froze. I saw his lips tremble, silently forming 2 words. I averted my gaze to the lifeless, unclothed woman lying on the ground, a pale, heavily made-up face merged with my memory of Nola Sai. I never expected to meet an old acquaintance at this moment. I forced a smile and quickly walked away, carrying the gift bag. Life is full of unexpected encounters, but this meeting is different from the one in my past life. In my past life, I stood on a brightly lit street, watching the radiant Sage Jiang and the elegant Nola Sai, arm in arm, surrounded by bodyguards. In my previous life, I wanted to get closer and ask for a clear answer, but was hit by a speeding car and sent flying into the sky. Life is inherently the same for all. We come into this world with nothing and leave with nothing. The only difference lies in the choices we make. I am grateful that in this life, I made the right choice.